In the Belgorod region, having realized that Russian forces were simply unable to contain even small assault groups, the Russian Freedom Legion and the Russian Volunteer Corps decided to quickly scale up their operations. The insurgent forces opened 7 more lines of attack and managed to secure at least 4 settlements, namely Solntsivka, Sarita, Marino and Leninsky, while fighting is raging in 9 more settlements, including Zibrovka, Shebekino and Voznesenovka. Footage of the fighting confirms ongoing operations in multiple settlements. The Russian authorities were forced to admit that the issue was not resolved and initiated a mass evacuation. At the moment, Russian forces have lost control over 200 square kilometers of the Belgorod region. The crisis continues to worsen, and more sources are beginning to consider Belgorod as a new front line. The scale of the operation also means that losses will increase, so the commander of the Russian Volunteer Corps asked the head of the Belgorod region to exchange prisoners of war. The head of the Belgorod region declined the offer, calling them terrorists and saying he doubted there were any Russian soldiers alive anyway. The head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, immediately responded by harshly criticizing the decision to basically abandon the Russian soldiers and said it cost nothing to organize a regular prisoner exchange which, anyway, happens all the time. Simultaneously, it was revealed that the Russian Ministry of Defense attempted to ambush and kill the retreating Wagnerian forces from Bakhmut. Prigozhin said his troops noticed strange activity in the rear and, when they checked the roads, it turned out that someone had completely mined them as if planning to wipe out the entire convoy. Prigozhin said they cleared the area, but as they retreated they were hit by artillery fire that was likely to wipe out the survivors after the mines detonated. Wagner's forces conducted an internal raid and took prisoner the gunners who shot at them. They later showed a video with the commander of the Russian 72nd Brigade, who confessed that a group of 12 people under his command fired on Wagner's forces. Prigozhin saw an opportunity in this whole situation, and basically said that, for security reasons, he would not inform when and where his forces would be deployed and that all operations would be carried out at his discretion, bypassing the Russian Ministry of Defense. Prigozhin immediately took action and began to redeploy certain elements of his forces in the Belgorod region, stating that if the Russian ministry could not do its job and protect the Russian people, then it would do it itself. The head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, also recognized this opportunity and said he could help. Meanwhile, Russian forces began to lose Bakhmut. The moment the Wagner Group withdrew from the city and the DPR units became solely responsible for Bakhmut, the Ukrainians entered the southwestern part of the city. If you still remember, before retreating, the Ukrainians made a very prudent decision by blowing up several high-rise buildings exactly in this area. Later, the Ukrainian Air Force carried out an air raid and completely demolished the rest of the buildings that could be used by the Russians to protect the southern part of the city. Today, a commander of the Wagner Group has confirmed that the Ukrainians have entered the southern part of the city, which Wagner kept under his control. Russian analysts are very concerned that the Ukrainians will take advantage of these advances to make a pincer move on Klishchiivka and open a breach in the most robust strong point without even assaulting it. Today a fighter from the Ada Battalion has reported that they are aggravating the situation by blocking the rotation process with artillery fire and, according to intercepted radio exchanges, the Russians in Klishchiivka could soon abandon their positions due to lack of food and sheer exhaustion.